U.S. Wind, an American offshore wind company, is developing offshore wind energy in its federal lease area off the coast of the Delmarva Peninsula. Producing enough clean, renewable energy to eventually power more than 500,000 homes every year, U.S. Wind will create thousands of jobs and foster economic development for the region. Offshore wind is a proven technology where the power of the wind is harnessed and converted to clean energy via wind turbine generators. The electricity first flows to a new substation located on an offshore platform, then flows through dedicated subsea cables to a new substation onshore, where it interconnects to the bulk electric system and to the local transmission grid that powers our homes and businesses. U.S. Wind may build up to 4 offshore substations, each with its own transmission cable, to make landfall and connect to 1 or more onshore substations. There are several routes that the cables may take to connect with the onshore power grid. Each potential route will be extensively evaluated by engineers and environmental experts and will require permitting and approval from federal and state authorities. To help illustrate the interconnection process, we've chosen to walk you through one such option. The route option described here would make landfall at 3 R's Beach, cross Indian River Bay, and connect to an onshore substation on the other end of the bay. The power would then connect to an existing Delmarva Power and Light substation in Dagsboro. The cables would be safely buried all along the route, so there would be no overhead lines or new poles. Horizontal directional drilling, HDD, would be used in 3 locations to avoid disturbing sensitive coastal beaches, dunes, and wetlands. Construction equipment never touches the beach or the dunes. The drilling equipment passes deep under the earth below those coastal features as much as 60 feet. Several manhole covers would be the only visible signs that the buried cables are contained in a concrete vault below the 3 R's parking lot. From that buried vault, the cables would be buried in one direction heading east into the Atlantic Ocean and in another direction heading west under wetlands into Indian River Bay. Another set of buried vaults in Dagsboro would be used to install the cables heading east under wetlands into Indian River Bay and west to the onshore substation. The cables would also be buried deep under the soil in the bay, to a target depth of between 3 and 7 feet. Using HDD and constructing during specified timeframes will mean no impacts to nesting birds and terrapins, no disturbance of unique coastal habitats, and concentrated activity in temporary construction areas only. Work in the bay would require the use of barges equipped with a turntable, loading arm, and cable roller. The cables would be fed into the West Bay cable ducts, where they would be pulled through and into the transition vault. They would then be buried across the bay, west to east. The barge would move along the cable route using an anchor system and an anchor handling tug in combination with spud piles. Depending on water depth, the cables would be buried by establishing a trench with specialty equipment. The trench would fill in once the cable was laid. The cable running under the bay and the cable coming from the ocean will meet up underneath 3 R's parking lot, where they will be spliced together. Throughout the process, U.S. Wind will keep the public informed of our actions and take great care to protect sensitive coastal ecosystems. U.S. Wind's work would take place outside the summer recreation season to minimize impacts to year-round residents and seasonal visitors. Once the installation is complete, all work areas will be restored or improved. Since all of the infrastructure is buried, there will be nothing to see near the coast or in the bay. In Dagsboro, a new onshore substation would be adjacent to an existing larger Delmarva Power and Light substation. Together, we will deliver clean, renewable energy to the region for years to come.